The Strange Encounter. The night was quiet on the edge of the colony. The small house of the human father stood near the dark forest. Inside, his young daughter could not sleep. She kept looking outside the window, listening to the strange sounds of the night. She was not afraid. She was curious. She had always asked her father about the forest, but he always warned her, never go too far. It is not safe. That night, the girl thought she saw something moving among the trees, a soft light like a firefly but bigger. Her small heart raced with wonder. She whispered to herself, "What is that?" She opened the door quietly, careful not to wake her father. The cold air touched her skin as she stepped out. The grass was wet with night dew. The forest seemed alive with whispers. The light moved again, deeper into the trees. She followed step by step, her bare feet pressing the earth. She thought maybe it was an animal, but the light was steady, almost calling to her. Then she saw her, a small figure almost her age. Hiding in the shadows, her skin glowed faintly. Marked with strange lines, her eyes were wide and filled with fear. The human girl gasped. It was not a dream. It was real, she whispered. "Who are you?" The strange girl did not answer. She only looked back, trembling. Her clothes were torn, her hair tangled. She looked tired, hungry and lost. The human girl took a step closer. The glowing girl stepped back. It was like a dance of fear and curiosity. One reaching out, the other pulling away. Suddenly, a sound broke the silence. Branches cracked behind them. The glowing girl's eyes filled with terror. She turned, ready to run. The human girl quickly said, "Wait, don't go." She held out her hand. Small and shaking, the glowing girl stared at it. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then the father's voice shouted from the house, "Where are you? Come back inside." The human girl turned her head in panic. When she looked back, the glowing girl was gone. She ran back to the house. Her father stood in the doorway, worried and angry. "What were you doing out there?" he asked. The girl hesitated. Should she tell him the truth? Her lips trembled. She whispered, "Dad, I saw someone." The father frowned. "Someone? Out here? There is no one in these woods." But the girl shook her head. Her eyes shone with excitement. "No, Dad, she was real. She was like me." But different, she glowed. The father's face grew serious. He looked toward the forest. The night seemed darker, heavier. He closed the door firmly. "You must never go out there again," he said. But the girl's heart was burning with a wish. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "Dad, can she stay with us forever?" The father froze. He did not know what his daughter had truly seen. But deep inside he felt a chill, a fear that this was only the beginning. Outside in the dark forest, the glowing girl was still there. She watched the house with silent eyes. She hugged herself as the wind blew. And for the first time she whispered one word. Hartumin, the daughter's wish. The morning sun rose over the colony. The small house looked calm, but inside the air was heavy. The father sat at the table, staring at his daughter. She had not stopped talking about the glowing girl all night. Her little eyes were bright with hope. She said again and again, "Dad, can she stay with us forever?" The father rubbed his face with tired hands. He wanted to believe his daughter, but fear grew inside him. "You only dreamed, child," he said, but she shook her head. Firm and stubborn. "No, Dad," I touched her hand. "She was real. She was scared. She needs us." The father sighed. He had lost his wife years ago, and now his daughter was all he had. He never wanted her to suffer or to be in danger. And this story about a glowing girl sounded dangerous. Still, a part of him remembered the old tales. Whispers of an ancient species, strange and rare. Creatures said to vanish when humans first came to the stars. But he had never seen one with his own eyes. The daughter pulled on his sleeve. "Please, Dad, she is my friend." She called this place home. Her voice was soft, but it cut deep into his heart. How could he say no to that innocence? That night, the father decided to keep watch. He stood by the window, rifle resting against the wall. The forest looked quiet, yet his chest felt heavy. Every shadow seemed alive. Every whisper of wind felt like a warning. Hours passed, then suddenly there it was again. A faint light moving between the trees. Slow, careful, almost like it was searching. His breath caught in his throat. The door creaked. He turned quickly and saw his daughter, her eyes wide with excitement. "Dad, she came back. I told you." Before he could stop her, she rushed outside. The father cursed under his breath and ran after her. The forest floor crunched beneath their feet. The daughter stopped at the clearing. There she was, the glowing girl. Standing small and frightened, the father raised his hand. "Stay back," he warned, his voice strong. But the alien girl did not move to attack. Instead, she held out her trembling hands. Empty and weak, her eyes met his. They were not the eyes of an enemy. They were the eyes of a child lost and lonely. Something inside the father shifted. The daughter stepped forward and smiled. "It's okay, you can come with us," she said. The alien girl blinked, her glowing lines pulsing softly. Then she whispered one word, almost broken. "Safe." The father's chest tightened. This was not just a strange creature. This was someone's child, left behind or hunted. But why here and why now? He lowered his voice. "If you stay, there will be danger. Others will not accept you." The daughter clung to his arm. "Then we will protect her, Dad. Please." The father looked at the two girls, his daughter and the stranger. Both small, both innocent, one human, one alien. Yet in that moment they looked the same. Finally he nodded. "Fine. But only for now." The daughter jumped with joy and hugged the glowing girl. The alien girl stiffened, then slowly returned the embrace for the first time. A faint smile touched her lips. The father watched, silent, heavy with questions. Who was she really? And what danger would follow her here? As the night deepened, the stars shone above, but in the distance, the father noticed something strange. Far beyond the forest, faint red lights blinked in the sky. Not stars, not natural, but ships. He clenched his jaw. If she stayed, the quiet life they had known was over. But his daughter had made her wish, and he had accepted it. The glowing girl was now under his roof, and the real story was only beginning. Hidden secrets. The small house felt different now. The alien girl sat quietly in a corner. Her glowing lines dim, she did not speak much, only watched with wide, careful eyes. The daughter smiled at her often, trying to make her feel safe. The father, however, could not rest. Every sound outside made him turn. Every shadow made him reach for his weapon. He wanted to believe this girl was harmless. But deep inside, a question burned. What is she hiding? On the second night, strange things began to happen. The old lamp flickered when the girl walked near. The small food machine beeped and clicked by itself. Even the house door unlocked without a touch. The daughter laughed and clapped her hands. "She has magic, Dad," she said with joy. But the father's face grew darker. He knew this was not magic, it was something else. Something powerful. The girl tried to explain with broken words. She tapped her chest, then pointed to the machines. Her voice was soft, her accent heavy. One word she repeated again and again. Connected. The father felt a chill. If she was connected to machines, what else could she control? The colony had strict rules about unknown beings. If anyone found out, soldiers would come later. When his daughter was asleep, the father sat by the fire. Staring at the glowing girl, she sat hugging her knees, her eyes reflecting the flames for a moment. She looked less like an alien and more like a lost child. He whispered, "Why are you here?" The girl tilted her head. Her lines glowed brighter, and she spoke one strange phrase. "Running. Hiding. Last one." The father's stomach tightened. Last one? Did she mean the last of her kind? If that was true, then she carried a secret far greater than he imagined. But who was she running from? The next day, the daughter played with her new friend outside. She taught her how to throw stones, how to chase butterflies. The alien girl laughed for the first time. A clear, sweet sound, it echoed through the trees, making even the birds fall silent. But the father noticed something else. When the alien girl laughed, the ground seemed to tremble faintly, the leaves shook, and the machines inside the house beeped again. Her very joy was linked to the world around her. That night, as the three of them sat together, the daughter asked the question the father had been avoiding. "Dad, will she go to school with me?" The father froze. School meant people, teachers, and reports to the colony council. If anyone discovered the truth, it would end in fear and punishment. He shook his head, firm but gentle. "No, child. She must stay hidden." The daughter frowned, but she did not argue. Instead, she wrapped her arm around the glowing girl. "Then I will teach her myself," she declared proudly. The alien girl smiled softly, whispering one word. "Sister." The father felt his chest tighten. Two children sat before him now, different yet the same, but he knew the danger was growing. Secrets like this could not stay hidden forever. That night, while the girls slept, the father searched through old colony records. He found whispers of a war long ago, a war against a race that controlled energy itself. Those beings were believed to be gone. But the marks on this girl's skin, the strange connection to machines, it all matched the forgotten stories. Could she really be one of them? His hands shook as he closed the records. If the council learned of this, they would take her away. Worse, they might destroy her to erase the past, and yet, his daughter's wish still echoed in his mind. Dad, can she stay with us forever? He looked at the sleeping alien girl, her face calm, her body glowing faintly. She was a mystery, a secret, and maybe even a weapon. But she was also just a child. In the distance, thunder rolled across the sky. But the father knew it was not thunder. He saw faint lights again, ships moving silently above the colony. The hunters were coming closer, and his house held the very thing they were searching for. Whispers of the past. The father could not sleep that night. The sound of the storm outside mixed with the beating of his heart. He sat at the old desk, the glow of his screen lighting his tired face. On the screen were ancient files, hidden records of the colony's first settlers. He scrolled through broken reports and faded maps. The words were difficult, some lost in time, but again and again, one symbol returned, a glowing mark, almost the same as the lines on the alien girl's skin. He leaned back in his chair, whispering to himself, "It cannot be true. They were destroyed, weren't they?" His hand shook as he read the last words of a forgotten report. They are not gone. They are only waiting. Meanwhile, in the small room, the daughter slept peacefully. The alien girl sat awake, her glowing lines pulsing softly in the dark. She traced symbols on the wall with her finger, symbols that looked like stars, circles, and strange paths. When the father entered quietly, he froze. The wall shimmered faintly where she drew. The symbols glowed for a moment before fading away. He realized they were not random drawings, they were maps. He whispered, "What are you showing me?" The alien girl looked at him, her eyes deep and sad. She spoke in broken words, but he understood enough. Before, many more came. All gone. The father's chest tightened. She was not just a lost child. She was carrying the memory of her people. She was living proof of a forgotten history. The girl pressed her hand against his. Her skin was warm, and the glow moved like living light. Images filled his mind, not words but visions. Cities of shining towers, skies filled with ships. Then the vision turned dark. Explosions lit the skies, fire rained down. The glowing people screamed, running as machines destroyed everything. And finally, silence, only ruins and shadows remained. The father gasped and pulled back. His heart pounded, his breath came fast. The alien girl lowered her head, whispering one word, "Alone." For the first time, the father saw the full truth. This girl was not only running from hunters, she was the last voice of a fallen race, a race destroyed because they were feared. He sat down heavily. His daughter's wish now carried a weight far greater than he imagined. To keep this child meant keeping an entire history alive, but it also meant painting a target on their home. The next morning, the daughter bounced happily into the kitchen. She held the alien girl's hand, proud and smiling. "Dad, I taught her new words," she said. The alien girl nodded, speaking softly. "Family, safe, stay." The father forced a smile, but in his mind, the images of fire and war still burned. He could not tell his daughter the truth. Not yet. Her joy was too fragile to break. That day, as they worked outside the house, the father noticed something strange. Birds circled in the sky, then flew away in panic. Moments later, the ground shook with a distant rumble. He looked up and saw them, 3 small ships breaking through the clouds. They moved like hunters, scanning, searching. The father grabbed his daughter's hand and pulled both children inside. He closed the shutters and locked the door. The alien girl pressed against the wall, trembling. Her glowing lines flickered like a heartbeat. She whispered words he barely understood. "They... coming. For me?" The father gripped his weapon with shaking hands. He knew the council might already suspect something. And now strangers had arrived. Strangers who would not ask politely, they would take, they would destroy. He looked at his daughter, then at the glowing girl. 2 children, 2 lives. And one impossible choice, he whispered to himself. How long can I keep this secret? Outside, the ship circled lower, their red lights cutting across the dark forest. The past was no longer whispering. Bond of innocence. The forest was silent after the ships passed. The father waited inside the small house. Weapon in hand, his eyes stayed on the window, watching for any sign of movement. But the 2 girls were not afraid. at least not in the same way. The daughter sat on the floor with the alien girl beside her. A small basket of stones lay between them. The daughter picked up one stone and said slowly, "This is red," she pointed, and the alien girl repeated softly. "Red," they laughed together, their voices filling the house with warmth. Then another stone. "This is blue," again the alien girl copied, her glowing lines flickering as she spoke. "Blue," she said, a little stronger this time. The father watched in silence. He saw his daughter teaching, patient and kind, and he saw the alien girl learning, her fear slowly fading for the first time. The father thought maybe she truly was just a child. Hours passed as the two played. The daughter drew pictures on scraps of paper, a house, a son, a family of 3. The alien girl tilted her head, then added her own mark, 2 glowing lines. The daughter clapped her hands with delight. "That's you," she said, pointing. The alien girl smiled faintly and whispered, "Sister." Her voice was soft, but her meaning was clear. The father felt his chest tighten. It had been many years since laughter filled his home. The sound of joy felt like a forgotten song, and now 2 children had brought it back. Still, danger hung heavy in his mind. He remembered the ships, the glowing red lights in the sky. If they returned, if they searched the forest again, they would not leave until they found what they wanted that evening. The daughter insisted on showing her friend how to sing. She hummed a simple tune, tapping her hands on the table. The alien girl tilted her head, listening closely. Then she copied the sound, her voice strange but beautiful. The walls of the house seemed to vibrate with her song. The lamp above them flickered in rhythm. Even the father felt the hum in his chest. It was not just music, it was energy, alive and powerful. The daughter giggled, clapping her hands. "See, Dad? She sings better than me." The father forced a small smile, though his mind was racing. If her song could move machines, what else could it do? Later, when the children slept, the father sat outside, the night air cold on his skin. He looked up at the stars somewhere out there. Others were hunting for the girl now sleeping under his roof. He thought about his daughter's words, "Dad, can she stay with us forever?" He wanted to protect his child's happiness, but he also feared what would happen if the truth was discovered. Inside the house, the alien girl stirred in her sleep. Her glowing lines brightened and dimmed like waves. She dreamed of fire and ruins, but also of laughter. For the first time in her short life, she did not feel completely alone. The next morning, the daughter proudly showed her father something new. She and the alien girl had made a small bracelet from string and beads. Both of them wore one, identical and simple. "Now we are sisters forever," the daughter said. The alien girl smiled shyly, touching the bracelet. Her glowing lines pulsed with a gentle light. She repeated the words carefully. "Sisters, forever." The father's throat tightened. Innocence was a fragile thing. It could shine brighter than any star, but it could also be shattered in a single moment. That night, as they all sat by the fire, the father thought he heard something outside. A faint clicking sound like metal against stone. He rose slowly, weapon in hand. Through the crack of the shutter, he saw shadows moving. Not human shadows, but shapes too tall. 2 sharp hunters, he thought. They had already found the trail. His grip tightened on the weapon, his heart heavy. Inside, the 2 girls sat close together. One human, one alien. They laughed softly, whispering secrets only children could share. The father knew their bond was pure, but purity alone could not keep them safe. Outside, the forest waited in silence. The hunters were near, and soon innocence would meet the storm. Shadows in the sky, the night was heavy with silence. The father sat near the window, his rifle resting against the wall. The forest outside looked calm, but he could feel it. Something was wrong. The air carried a weight, a warning he could not ignore. The 2 girls slept together in the small room, the human child curled under the blanket, the alien girl beside her, glowing lines pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. They looked peaceful, almost like sisters born of the same blood. But peace was fragile far above the colony. Dark ships drifted across the sky. Their red lights blinked slowly, searching, hunting, and with every pass, they came closer to the forest. The father's mind raced. He had promised his daughter safety. But how could he keep that promise when the sky itself was filled with enemies? He whispered to himself, "They know she is here." The next morning, the forest was too quiet. No birds sang. No wind stirred the branches. Even the insects had gone silent. The alien girl stood at the door. Her glowing eyes staring upward, she whispered one broken word. Hunters. The father froze. She had felt them even before he did. The daughter grabbed her hand, trying to comfort her. Don't worry, you are safe here, she said. But the father could not share that promise. He knew safety was slipping away with each passing hour. That afternoon, the shadows appeared. Dark shapes cut across the sun, moving slowly over the colony. The people in the town pointed at the sky. Whispering in fear, the council sent messages, claiming it was only routine patrol. But the father knew better. These were not patrols, they were searchers, looking for something or someone, and he already knew who that someone was. When night came again, the two girls sat by the fire. The daughter told stories, laughing as she spoke. The alien girl listened closely, repeating the new words she learned. Her glowing lines shimmered with joy, but then the house shook. A low rumble rolled through the earth. The father rushed to the window and saw beams of light cutting through the forest. Searchlights from the sky sweeping closer. He whispered sharply, "Quiet, stay inside." The girls looked at him. Frightened but trusting, he grabbed his weapon. Heart pounding, he had no plan, only the instinct to protect. Through the cracks in the wall, he saw them. Drones. Small machines hovered between the trees, red eyes glowing. They scanned the ground with beams of light. One beam passed dangerously close to the house. The alien girl trembled, her glowing lines flashing rapidly. The daughter hugged her tightly, whispering, "Don't be scared." "I'm here." The father gritted his teeth. How long before the machines discovered them? Then it happened. One drone turned, its red light shining directly toward the window. The father fired his weapon, the shot echoing through the night. The drone sparked and crashed into the trees. Silence followed for only a moment. Then the forest erupted with noise. More drones swarmed in, their red lights flashing like angry eyes. The ships above shifted, sending more beams down. The alien girl cried out, her glowing marks burning bright. The machines inside the house whirred and sparked as if pulled by her energy. The daughter held her hand, terrified but refusing to let go. The father shouted, "Stay back. Stay together." Outside, the forest burned with light. The hunters were here, and they would not stop until they found what they wanted. The father realized the truth. This was no longer a quiet life in the colony. It was a war at his doorstep, and his home was the battlefield. The decision, the forest was silent again, but only because the drones were gone. Their broken shells smoked among the trees, the red lights fading into darkness. The father stood at the doorway, weapon still hot in his hands. His breath was heavy, his eyes sharp. Knowing the fight had only begun inside, the two girls clung to each other, the human daughter whispering soft words of comfort, the alien girl trembling, her glowing lines dimming as if she was fading. The father forced a steady voice. "It's over for now, but they will return." At dawn, the colony council sent soldiers to his home. They had seen the lights in the sky. They had tracked the gunfire. The father stepped outside. Standing tall but wary, the soldiers spread out, scanning the house like predators. Then came the council leader, a stern man with cold eyes. He looked at the father and said calmly, "We know you are hiding something, and you will hand it over." The father's jaw tightened. His hands clenched at his sides. The man's voice was smooth, but filled with iron. "This colony is under threat. Strangers circle above us, and you think we will allow danger to live under your roof?" The father said nothing, but his silence was an answer. The leader's eyes narrowed, and he gave a single order. "Search the house." The soldiers moved quickly, boots heavy against the wooden floor. The daughter screamed and ran to block the door to her room. "No, you can't take her," she cried, her small arms outstretched. The alien girl stayed hidden in the shadows, her glowing lines faint but trembling. The father stepped forward, his voice like thunder. "Stop. You will not touch them." The soldiers froze, their hands near their weapons. The council leader raised a brow, watching with cruel patience. "So it is true," he said softly, almost like a whisper. "You are hiding one of them." The father's heart pounded. The truth could no longer be denied. The daughter clung to his leg, her eyes wet with tears. "Please, Dad, don't let them take her," she begged. The alien girl's glowing eyes met his. Silent but filled with fear, she did not speak. But her trembling said everything. The father raised his rifle. The soldiers instantly raised theirs in reply. The air grew thick with tension. A single spark away from violence, the leader raised his hand, stopping the soldiers for a moment. He spoke in a voice like ice. "Listen carefully, human. You must choose." His words cut the air like a blade. "Hand over the creature, or lose everything." The father's mind burned with conflict. If he gave her up, his daughter would hate him forever. If he kept her, the council would declare him a traitor. Either way, his life would never be the same. The daughter's voice broke the silence. "Dad, please. She is my sister. Don't let them take her." Her small hands held his tightly. Her words carried more weight than any weapon. The alien girl stepped out of the shadows at last. Her glowing lines shone brighter than ever before. She raised her trembling hands, whispering one word. "Stay." The soldier shifted, uneasy at the sight. The father felt his chest tighten with rage and resolve. He looked at the leader, his voice low and steady. "She stays with us, no matter what." The leader's cold smile spread slowly. "Then you have chosen, and you have chosen war." He turned, motioning to his soldiers. "Pull back. Let the sky finish what we started." The father watched as they retreated into the forest. But he knew this was not mercy, it was a trap. The hunters above and the council below were now one, and his house was marked as the center of the storm. Inside, the two girls stood together. One human, one alien, both holding the same fragile dream. The father closed the door and locked it. The decision was made, and there was no turning back. Escape the night came quickly, but it brought no peace. The father packed supplies in silence, his face hard with resolve. His daughter watched him with wide eyes, clutching the alien girl's hand. She whispered, "Dad, where are we going?" He answered without looking up, "Away from here into the wild." Before they returned, the girl's eyes filled with fear, but she nodded, knowing the truth. There was no other choice. The alien girl stood quietly, her glowing lines faint but steady. She did not ask questions. Yet when she touched the doorframe, the house lights flickered one last time, almost as if the home itself was saying goodbye. They left under the cover of darkness. The father led the way with a dim lantern. Behind him, the two children walked close together. The forest whispered with shadows, branches creaking in the wind far above. Red lights blinked across the clouds. The hunters were circling again. Patient and merciless, the father quickened his pace, each step a reminder that they were prey. Hours passed as they moved deeper into the wilderness. The ground grew rough, roots and rocks slowing their path. The daughter stumbled, but the alien girl caught her for the first time. Strength flashed in her glowing arms. The father noticed but said nothing. His mind was heavy with survival. He knew the forest well, but against drones and soldiers, even knowledge of the land might not be enough. Then the sound came, a sharp hum that cut through the night. The father froze, signaling the children to hide. Through the trees, 3 drones appeared. Scanning with red beams, the alien girl's glowing lines brightened as she trembled. The machines around her seemed to react. One drone stuttered midair, sparks flickering from its frame. The father seized the chance and fired his rifle. The first drone fell, crashing into the dirt. The second whirred loudly, turning its beam toward them. But before it could strike, the alien girl raised her hand. The drone's red eye dimmed, its metal frame twisting until it fell lifeless. The daughter gasped. "She saved us." The father pulled them forward, urgency in his voice. "No time, more will come. We must keep moving." The forest erupted with more lights behind them. They ran through the trees, the father's boots pounding, the children's small feet stumbling after him. Branches tore at their clothes. Shadows danced across their faces. The hunters were close, too close finally. They reached a cave hidden between 2 cliffs. The father pushed the children inside. The air was damp and cold, but it was shelter for now. It would have to be enough. Inside, the daughter hugged the alien girl tightly. "I told you, Dad, she is not dangerous. She is our protector." The alien girl lowered her head, whispering softly, "Danger. Follow me." The father knelt in front of them, his voice steady but heavy. "You both must listen. We cannot stay here long. They will track us." His daughter looked up at him with pleading eyes. "Where will we go?" He hesitated, staring into the dark cave. "Farther than they can follow, maybe beyond the colony." The alien girl touched his arm, her glowing lines brighter now. She whispered, "Home." "I show?" The father's heart pounded. Did she mean she could lead them somewhere safe? Or was she leading them into more danger? Either way, staying was no longer an option. Outside, the night sky flashed with searchlights. The hunters swept the forest, their machines buzzing like angry wasps. The father tightened his grip on his weapon. His decision was clear. They would leave at dawn. He looked at the two children, huddled close, one born of his blood, the other born of stars. Together they were innocent, but together they were also hunted. He whispered to himself, "I will protect them, no matter the cost." And as the first light of dawn touched the cliffs, the family of three stepped out of the cave. The forest waited, wild and merciless, and the escape had only just begun. Truth revealed. The cave was dark and damp, but it gave them shelter. The father sat near the entrance, weapon in hand. Listening to every sound outside, the two girls rested deeper inside, their soft breathing the only calm sound in the night. Yet the alien girl did not sleep. Her glowing lines pulsed with a steady rhythm. At dawn, the father noticed strange marks on the cave wall. Lines and circles appeared where the alien girl had touched the stone. Symbols glowed faintly, spreading like veins of light across the rock. The daughter gasped, her eyes wide with wonder. "Dad, look, she's drawing stars," she whispered. The father stepped closer, his chest tight. They were not drawings. They were maps. The cave wall had become a window to another world. The alien girl pressed her hand against one glowing circle. Her eyes closed, her body trembling as if in pain. Then the images appeared, bright visions flashing in their minds. The father staggered, gripping the wall for balance. He saw cities floating in the sky, towers made of light. He saw her people moving gracefully, their glowing bodies like living stars. They touched the earth and the air, and even the smallest machine obeyed them. It was a world of beauty, harmony, and power. But the vision darkened, great ships appeared, engines roaring, weapons firing. The sky turned red as fire consumed the shining towers. The glowing people fell, their voices crying out. The father's chest ached as he saw the final moment. A small group of survivors fleeing into the dark, and among them a child, the same girl now standing in his cave. She was carried away, the last spark of a dying race. The images ended and silence filled the cave. The alien girl collapsed, her glowing lines dim. The daughter rushed to her side, holding her hand tightly. "It's okay, you're safe." "We're here," she whispered. The father knelt beside them, his voice low and heavy. "You're not just a child, are you? You carry them, all of them." The alien girl looked at him, her eyes filled with sorrow. She whispered one word, broken but clear. "Memory." The father's blood ran cold. She was more than a survivor. She was a vessel. The knowledge, the history, the soul of her entire people lived inside her. If she was lost, everything her race once was would vanish forever. His daughter looked at him with pleading eyes. "Dad, that means we must protect her, right? She's not only my sister, she's everyone's." Her words cut through the silence like a blade. The father closed his eyes, knowing she was right. But he also knew the truth. If the council or the hunters discovered this secret, they would never stop. They would capture her, study her, destroy her, and they would destroy anyone who tried to protect her. The alien girl whispered again, her voice weak. "They follow, always." Her hand shook as she touched the glowing map. One circle pulsed brighter. Far away from the colony, the father understood. She was pointing to a place, a sanctuary, maybe, or the ruins of her people. Wherever it was her true home, and maybe the only place where she could be safe. He looked at his daughter, then at the glowing child who was no longer just a stranger. He thought of his wife who had once told him, "Protect her heart, no matter what." Now he had two hearts to protect, both fragile, both precious, and one of them carried the weight of a fallen world. The father rose, his decision clear. "We leave at first light," he said firmly. The daughter smiled, relief in her eyes. The alien girl looked at him and whispered softly, "Family." But outside, the sky rumbled again. The hunters had not given up. And as the father watched the red lights blink through the clouds, he knew the truth revealed was not an ending. It was only the beginning of the greatest fight of his life, the final choice. The morning sun broke through the trees, but its light did not bring peace. The father stood at the cave entrance, staring at the sky. The red lights of the hunters moved slowly above, waiting like vultures. The alien girl sat quietly beside his daughter, her glowing lines dim but steady. Her small hands held the bracelet they had made together. She whispered the word again, "Sisters," and smiled faintly. The daughter looked at her father with pleading eyes. "Dad, we can't let them take her. Promise me." The father's heart ached. He wanted to promise, but promises were fragile in a world full of hunters. He tightened his grip on the rifle. The decision burned inside him, heavy and unshakable. He could no longer run forever. The time had come to stand as they stepped from the cave. The forest came alive with sound. Engines roared, branches shook. Beams of red light swept across the ground. The hunters had found them. Their machines descended like shadows with metal wings. The father shouted, "Stay behind me." The children clung to each other, fear on their faces but courage in their hearts. The alien girl's glowing lines pulsed brighter, reacting to the danger. Machines sparked nearby as if her very breath unsettled them. The first drone rushed forward, its weapon charging. The father fired, shattering it into pieces, but more came, surrounding them in the clearing. The forest echoed with the sound of war. The alien girl cried out, her glow burning like fire. The machines around them shook violently. One by one, their lights flickered and died. Falling into the dirt, her power was no longer hidden, it was awake. The father shielded his daughter with one arm. He watched in awe and fear as the glowing child stood tall. Her voice rose in a strange echoing song. The air itself trembled. The ground shook beneath their feet. The hunters' ships above tilted, their engines stuttering. For a moment, the sky was filled with chaos. Lights blinked and died. Metal groaned. It was as if the entire world bent to her voice. But the girl staggered, weak from the effort. The daughter caught her, holding her close. "Don't stop. You're not alone," she whispered fiercely. The alien girl looked up at her, eyes glowing with tears. The father realized then, this child was not a weapon, not a danger. She was the last hope of a race destroyed by fear. And now she was his family too. The hunters circled again, recovering. More drones poured from the sky, red eyes glowing with hate. The father raised his rifle once more, but in his heart, he already knew guns would not win this battle. The alien girl stepped forward, her small hand lifting toward the sky. She whispered one word, her voice trembling. "Home." And the map from the cave burned in the father's mind. He understood. This fight was not about destroying the hunters. It was about choosing, to give her up or to protect her until she reached the place of her people. The place where she truly belonged. He turned to his daughter. Her eyes were bright with tears but strong with belief. "Dad, please," she said softly. "Let her stay with us forever." And in that moment, he knew the answer. He pulled both girls close. His voice steady and sure. "Yes, she stays. She is ours now. No one will take her from us." The alien girl's glow flared brighter, not from fear but from hope. For the first time, her trembling stopped. The hunters descended, their weapons ready. The father raised his rifle for the final stand. The alien girl's glow rose like a storm, spreading light across the forest. And together, the three of them faced the sky. The father's choice was made. He would fight for her as if she were his own blood. He would fight for both his daughters, and the universe would learn that humans did not abandon family. As the light grew brighter and the hunters closed in, one truth echoed louder than the war around them. She was no longer alone, and she would never be taken again.